Okay. I think we're going now. 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 Okay. Yep, a lot of testing to see how this is working. And I hate to say it, but I better get myself some headphones. Yep, a lot of testing to see how this is working. And I hate to say it, but I better get myself some headphones. Yep, a lot of testing to see how this is working. And I hate to say it, but I better get myself some headphones. Yep, a lot of testing to see how this is working. And I hate to say it, but I better Okay. Headphones on. And we are live. Not sure how I feel about this. I guess we'll see how things go. So, welcome to another wonderful day in the City of Heroes. I am Levi Whitney. I am very new to the streaming experience. Heck, I don't even have like a second monitor up or anything. So if anybody's talking to me, I don't know. That's cute. That. Well, may as well get started. So, we're going to be doing a mission for Doc Buzzsaw. Normally a level 25 to 29 contact. The Homecoming crew has added a new arc to her that goes from 30 to 40. So let's take a look. The Freakish Lab of Dr. Vahzilok, Part 1, Sanctioned Lobotomy. As you approach Doc Buzzsaw, you notice that she looks significantly less chipper than usual. She looks in your direction once, she notices you, and puts on something resembling her normal manic grin.
Ah, hello, Adamant. I hope you've been well. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for me. You see, you recall that I once worked for Dr. Vahzilok over in Paragon City, yes? Well, we didn't exactly part on the best terms, and I've always suspected he's held a grudge. Perhaps it was our disagreements about how to handle the heroes of the city, or perhaps it was the impromptu vivisection of one of his favorite eidolons as I was on my way out. But the why doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I thought it best to set up shop far away from him to avoid potential reprisal. Her grin visibly fades. Alas, it appears that the doctor is not content to leave me be. I received word from my enthusiastic young friends that one of the doctor's strongest lackeys, Cortex, has arrived on the Isles with an elite squad of eidolons and one name dripping from his formaldehyde-drenched lips. My own.
So, is that why you called me?
Doc Buzzsaw nods, the saw blades on her back barely missing your head. Yes! I'd like to know precisely what he wants from me and why the doctor chose now to come after me. I'd send my young friends to deal with him, but interrogation is not exactly their strong suit.
She's talking about the freak show.
That's assuming they could even defeat him. He is, after all, a former hero. No, my young friends are better served as a distraction, but they won't know that.
It may be a good idea to bring any associates with you for fun, just in case. Or rather, that's supposed to be in her voice.
It may be a good idea to bring any associates with you for fun, just in case. I promise I will pay you whatever price you and your associates ask. This is, after all, the future of science at stake. Cortex and his cadre are holed up in a warehouse nearby. Ooh, and take this. It's a site-to-site teleporter I found in a stash of pre-tech. It's a site-to-site teleporter I found in a stash of pre-tech. Tag Cortex with it and he'll go right to my interrogation room. Take care now. Maybe bring me back a souvenir.
So, select task, check through my chat, see if anything's updated, check my friends, nothing. Okay. What am I doing? He can fly. Eidolons. Normally boss level enemies, but at level 35 they are reduced to minions? Fortunately, Adamant's claws are able to tear through them with surprising ease. Why are there so many flies around them? Let's have a look at their info to see what's going on. The Merc Eidolons from Dr. Vahzilok's festering former army have taken a more aggressive approach to their impending deaths. They have weaponized their rotting blood into a toxic snare to catch unprepared heroes. Well, that's odd. They're rotting? How unusual. Your claws are no match for bleh. Boom. This is almost as bad as going through Evil Bull Weevil's big bad house of bugs and beings. This isn't my usual difficulty for this, but this arc is usually a lot tougher, even going just slightly advanced. Wasn't I just in this room? No. Ooh, big right hand. He's ripping out huge globs of flesh. Oh, can nobody stop him? Man, the freak show are usually tougher than this. What is going on? Oh, I didn't think that they really needed Doc Vahzilok that bad. But apparently, without him around, they are really falling apart. Literally. I better go rescue Moon and company. I made sure he was deader than dead. Info. Yep, just a named freak show lieutenant. Moon. Oh, time to tenderize this bag of meat. Teratoma. Leave us in peace. We're not here to harm anyone. Moon. I'm going to show you the true meat freedom. Teratoma. Prepare for war. Decomposing Merc-Eidolon. No! Stop them now before we lose everything! Huh. Not really the words of an aggressive group. Sometimes you just gotta make sure you kill every cockroach in the building. This room again. But this one's empty. This room's very empty. Oh, there he is? Cortex, with a question mark. Cortex has seen better days. Once a former hero turned into one of Dr. Vahzilok's most prized creations, he appears to be falling apart rapidly. He's still a formidable foe with an array of mental powers to upend unsuspecting supers. Let's hit him with all the damage. Sure. And dive attack. Lacerate your companions. Now it's just you and me. You hear that, Cortex? It's you and I. That line always bothered me. Big right hand. And the fight's over. Cortex crumples to the floor, coughing and hacking. You knew he was in bad shape, but the flurry of action stopped you from getting a really good look at him. He almost looks, well, like death warmed over. He speaks to you through broken and gritted teeth. Let's take a look at his dialogue before I started the conversation.
Fine. Just kill us already and be done with it. I don't know what you want from us, Adamant, but you can see we're no match for you.
And those are the first lines of the dialogue.
And despite our proud legacy, we are weak and desperate. Do what you must. Put us out of our misery if it makes you happy.
I just want information. Why are you after Buzzsaw? Cortex gazes up at you through milky white eyes and furrows his scabbed brow.
I guess it's possible some news travels slower than others to these islands. Fine. Here's the short story. Eidolons like myself are the Doctor's pride and joy, his next step in human evolution. He personally worked on each of us to ensure we were always supplied with the very best parts whenever our previous ones failed. He is no longer able to work on us. Those amongst his disciples who had the ability to maintain us, well, they all went their separate ways. If you haven't guessed from the state of my cohort, we are quite literally falling apart. In fact, these are the healthiest Eidolons I could find, for what little they did to fight off someone like you. I need Buzzsaw to help fix us. She's the only one that I believe in, and the only one I trust that would still have the skill and willingness to repair our rotting bodies now.
Why Buzzsaw specifically? Why not the face maker?
We tried contacting her first, but she evidently wants nothing to do with us. She said something about us interrupting her legitimate business, or something like that. Frankly, I think she believes we're competition. I've heard she's creating Eidolons of her own, though I don't know why. Either way, Buzzsaw is the only one we can turn to. Why else would I seek out a traitor?
Well, to kill her, obviously. That's not why you're here. Cortex laughs, then suddenly begins coughing. After he catches his breath, he looks at you.
If the Doctor wanted her dead, he wouldn't have waited this long. No, he was upset when she left, but not enough to waste resources and time trying to kill her. He wanted to see what she'd do on her own. Curiously enough. Frankly, I think her potential is squandered tinkering with a bunch of freaks right now. I wonder what the Doctor would think about her choice of work.
I see, but why would you need her?
The Doctor has been captured by heroes and put into confinement in Zigursky. They confiscated his coalescent combat suit and left him frail and alone with only 3 meals in his mind to occupy him. We have tried to rescue him, but we simply don't have the resources to break him out at this point, regardless of where they housed him. A group like ours has little in the way of firepower for an assault like that, and not a single one of us could pull off an espionage tactic in our current state. Any breakout attempt would just result in the rest of us getting captured.
He shakes his head.
No, we don't have the manpower, and not enough oomph even if we had the lab. We've become fractured after his capture, and many of his followers have splintered off into smaller factions, each aiming to be the next Dr. Vahzilok. Ha! They act as though it's a title to be given. There will only ever be one Dr. Vahzilok.
Hold on, what lab were you talking about? Cortex looks visibly panicked over his slip of the tongue.
That's none of your concern.
This lab is obviously important to Cortex, since it's come up in his search to save his life. This could be useful. There must be some serious tech in there to bring a corpse back from the dead. You need to figure out how to get this information out of him. How about I offer you a deal? Cortex narrows his failing eyes.
I'm listening.
I happen to know Buzzsaw. Tell me about the lab and I'll call her. Cortex looks thoughtful for a moment, He's obviously desperate, and you're potentially throwing him a lifeline here. As he looks back at you, you can see in his eyes that he's taken the bait.
If you do know her, perhaps we can help each other after all. Fine. I'll accept on 2 conditions. 1, I meet with her before I say anything. 2, I tell her what I know about the lab after she fixes me up. She can then tell you. Do we have a deal?
Deal. Prepare for a quick teleport. What the fuck kind of rank is that? What the hell is a master corporal? Oh. Had to lube my throat after that. Alright, I think I'll close the stream right after this and just go back to normal recording.
You're back and with all your parts. I know things went well because all of a sudden Cortex was in my happy place. I've only had 5 minutes with him before you showed up, but he's already singing in hopes of extending his life. Such a tragic thing to be happening to the Eidolons, but advantageous for us. Whatever he knows about the Vahzilok Civil War could be a boon to my research, as well as whatever plans you may be concocting. I was going to politely but firmly reject Cortex's plea for help, but considering he has an abundance of potential opportunity for science in his skull, it might be best to pretend to care for her a bit. I'll see what I can find out. Feel free to wander about while I conduct my research. You've done quite well. It was quite a stroke of luck that we came into association. Hello again. I've spoken to Cortex and fixed him up a bit. I could probably get him back to as good or better than the doctor himself could, but I'm a bit out of practice on the semi-undead. I'd like to think the job was passable at any rate, for my needs. As such, I've managed to pry what information I could from his lumpy brain, and he told me something so incredible, I feel like an apple's hit me on the head.
Buzzsaw lets out a wide grin and licks her lips.
As you likely know, the doctor was generally very public with his research, sharing it online through dark web forums. He believed he was doing the world a favor with his work, after all, and recruited and propagandized there. There is a lab, however, filled with the research he never wanted to make public. Cortex tells me that the doctor created it in response to the constant hero attacks on his work, where the truest trials and errors took place before public release. My delectable scientific brain hypothesizes that the contents of that lab must be approaching Higgs boson levels of hype. However, there's always a speed bump or two in the roadmap to scientific glory. Cortex doesn't know where it is. Evidently, only a few people know of its location, and most of those folk were blindfolded en route to it. Thankfully, Cortex is not totally useless, and he at least knows who a few of these blind benefactors supposedly are. Since the epic downfall of the Doctor at the dam, however, nearly all of Cortex's references are in custody, trying to save themselves from their own choices. However, I think we happen to have an opportunity to extract one who is our best bet at cracking this thing wide open like Cortex's skull.
Okay. Who is it and who are they?
Back when Dr. Vahzilok was first getting the operation up and running, there was a core group of us that dedicated ourselves to his cause. I was there, of course. So was Cortex, Godwin Blair, Epidural, Pathogen, Dr. Morbin, Salamander, and the Sleeper, Dr. Caitlin Pierce. Kate's a smart girl, with a mastery of cybernetics that rivals my own, and ambitions to match. She always wanted to add more cyber parts to our walking corpse army, but the doctor always vetoed her ideas as too gaudy and aggressive. Eventually, the doctor reassigned her and had her set up a legitimate medical company in Skyway City to keep the supply lines open and keep eyes topside for the doctor. This was also Plan B in case the doctor got incarcerated, so Kate kept her record absolutely immaculate and reference-free from the doctor in the off chance she needed to take the work over on the sly. She foolishly got herself pinched when she played her hand during this latest power vacuum, and now she's crafting an exit strategy by trading secrets to Seraph! If she's desperate enough to do the right thing, maybe she's also desperate enough to help us find the lab and continue the work.
And with that, I'm going to switch to normal recording because I just realized with live I don't get to come back and add little tidbits. And frankly, I don't think I'm that entertaining for a live stream. You know, I'm not the sort of guy who will interact with an audience that, of course, is not there. So, you all have a good one, and see you with the next video. That will be a standard recording. Ta-ta.